she goes.
Yeah. Welcome back, I'm Tedward, and welcome to the all-new 2025 Ford Expedition Tremor, the family off-roader that can seat up to 8. It's a 3-row SUV. Right now we've got it configured in a 7-seater, and this is gonna be the way to get off-road with the family. We've got the on-road stuff with the Expedition and Expedition Max. We've got the whole YouTube family here with the Topher and Topher drives. We're gonna go do some off-roading today. We've spent some quality time in the Expedition Max yesterday and had a lovely time. We were most impressed with its on-road capability, but this Tremor has a bespoke suspension for the Tremor, and it's giving us 10.6 inches of ground clearance. It's still powered by a 3.5 liter V6 EcoBoost with twin turbos, making 440 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. That's the high output version. If you go down the line to the non-Tremor, you can get a base Expedition with only 400 horsepower. We like the high power one. This one is outfitted in wild green. It's got the orange spice accents, but they are actually somewhat functional. Not only do they look pretty good with these little orange accents, but down here on the wheels, they put this accent right where the valve stem is, so you never have to hunt. I mean, I know that's like a little detail, but it is kind of neat that that is a functional thing. What's also functional are the skid plates under this. You're going to be protected by skid plates under the engine, under the transfer case, under the fuel tank, and you also get these Raptor-style running boards. And that's great because it's one less thing to break going in and out electronically, but it's also going to help you around some rocks. Inside, this differs a little bit from the standard Expedition. You get the orange spice accents, and then our trim pieces in here are a little bit different. The materials, unfortunately, are still a little bit of a letdown for $83,000, but this interior is not going to disappoint on a long drive. You'll be just fine. In addition to some great protection from the skid plates, you also get these big honkin' tow hooks up here, these integrated lights in the grille, and then on the sides, you also get, on the roof rails, these lights. So what you're gonna be able to do in this car is really illuminate the ground, especially at night when you're off-roading or camping or tailgating, because you've also got these spotlights right here and here. And then let's take a look under here. We've got the new split hatch tailgate design, which is lovely because it means that you don't have as much of a limitation when you back up to a wall or something. Think about that. If you've got this huge thing coming up, sometimes you're limited in how far you can back up. And then you can also use it as just a little tailgate option. It's nice to have something to sit on. And the other side of this is that you don't get as much room in the Tremor because it's not the Max, it's the Shorty. So with the third row up, your cargo space is somewhat limited, but not limiting. It's still enough to get the job done. What I like about this is when you close this, they move together. It doesn't wait for that lower tailgate to move before the upper tailgate starts to come down. That's great. Let's take a quick peek under the hood and then we'll jump inside. Under the hood, there's our very familiar V6 twin-turbo EcoBoost engine. It is filthy. They've definitely been getting this thing muddy today because we're in Indiana at Interlake, and I think we're gonna get awfully muddy today. All these years later, you can still use a keypad on the door to get in the vehicle. And then this is kind of a futile effort today because it's gonna get very dirty, but inside, we're greeted with a very unique setup. The steering wheel is unique to the Expedition, and what's kind of cool about it is that the shape enables for better visibility, and it also enables for better visibility of this new setup with the displays. The steering wheel is a little controversial because it has haptic touch buttons that allow you to adjust for your Blue Cruise, which is going to be your level 2 driving situation. And then it also has this side, which is going to allow you to change, adjust your steering, and also your pedals, which is nice. So I think what's really great about this is that you're really able to adjust your seating position exactly the way you want, which makes it perfect for anybody in the family to use. If you've got someone who's driving this who's like 6'4", 400 pounds, or you've got someone who's like 5'2" and 95 pounds, you're going to be able to have your seat memory set up in a way that's going to allow this to be very functional. Ford aimed for this interior to feel like a living room, and I think they accomplished that goal. This is a pretty comfortable place. We've got heated and cooled seats up front and a Bang & Olufsen system, which we got to play with and test out on our drive yesterday. It's absolutely banging. This is a great sound system. It's pretty darn impressive. This one has the orange spice deviated stitching around the vehicle, so it gives you some excitement, and the big Tremor on the seats. It also has great cameras that are used functionally throughout the use of the vehicle, because it's not just for reverse. You can actually put your blinker on, you get that camera on the side mirror looking down. This, I'm hoping, is going to be functional today while we're off-roading to help us see what's going on with some rocks. And then you can also use some of the hotkeys down here to help out. That's always nice to have. You've got one pedal driving. Down here you've got your drive modes, and there's a couple extra modes. So beyond sport, you're gonna get your rough, uneven, and mixed terrain for off-road, and you're gonna get your rock crawl mode as well. It's got a locking rear diff. You've got 2 high, 4 high, 4 low, and a 4 automatic setup. Storage space is plentiful inside. This is something that I really appreciate because I usually have equipment in my car and I love being able to lock and hide things away. So when you've got a rear hatch like that and you're not totally able to hide what's in, say, a trunk of like a normal car, you don't want people looking in the windows. I like that I could put some expensive gear in there and then tuck this away. No one's the wiser. You also have cup holders back here. When you do that, you're moving those cup holders closer to the rear. In the center console, you also get a little bit of extra storage, and down here, you can charge your phone wirelessly on the charge pad and tuck that away. In addition, you've got USB-A and C chargers here with a couple extra USB-C chargers down here and a 12-volt on the right. So lots of room for charging, lots of room for your passengers to charge in the rear as well. But that's enough about that. Let's get out and drive off-road in the new Expedition Tremor. All right, now let's do some off-roading. I'm gonna angle my mirrors down because I like to see what's going on there. And nobody else is filming, so that's why they're all just running away from us. Anyway, back on the road. We are in off-road mode. We have the rear diff unlocked at the moment. We're gonna lock that once we get to some gnarly stuff. But typically, thank you, Chris.
I got you.
What a POV legend. Yeah, all right, yeah, just hang on to that. You can kind of take some of these at a good clip. The suspension is really phenomenal for this kind of stuff. I mean, this isn't like some crazy trail. We are going to encounter some good stuff, but you get a couple things out of this. First of all, you're realizing just how sort of soft you can make this and still capable. Another thing is that with all the skid plates, I have all the confidence in the world that if we do, bounce at the wrong moment on the wrong rock, we aren't dead in the water with a cracked oil pan or a diff. So that's always nice to see. And kind of all my minor gripes about the steering on-road, I think makes sense off-road, because I've got incredible visibility with the steering wheel, despite the fact that it's very weird to steer, because when you're like this, it's a different hand position. Your hands are wider and narrower depending on where you're actually doing this. Up here on our display, we get all kinds of great information. We can tell our steering lock in degrees. We get our pitch and roll. That's always nice. And then over here, we've got great cameras that are giving us forward and side visibility, top down, all kinds of good stuff. All right, we'll pop our diff lock on. You can see that. It's great to have this just right on the button there. You don't have to go through the infotainment screen. I like when you have hotkeys for important things.
This is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Turn wheel driver. And now back passenger. Yep, good. More passenger. Passenger, come on. Fine, stay passenger a little. Oh.
you may hear some fan noise. We've been getting kind of this loud auxiliary fan sound, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or if it's just because there's mud on it or something, but it's possible. So if you hear it, we hear it too. We're not fully aware of what that is, but we've driven 2 other expeditions on this expedition this week, and we've never heard it before. All right, I'm going to turn this.
Throttle.
Yeah. Turn the diff lock off. You hear the little chirp of that turbo boost controller. We love a bit of dust.
Bobbing in the expedition.
And in case you're wondering, we are aired down a little bit. We're at 26 PSI, so nothing crazy, but enough that it's just going to give us a little more traction in some of the gnarly stuff. And also probably a bit of ride comfort, if I'm honest.
This is a cool park.
This is a great park.
Yeah.
So if you're looking out, look for, what is this, Interlake? Is that what it's called?
Interlake Recreation.
Yeah, if you're out in Indiana and you're looking for a place to go do some overlanding, it looks to me that there's kind of an overlanding option for every type of vehicle here. So if you've got something that maybe you're not going to go do like actual rock crawling, you could certainly do that. And if you wanted to do some gnarly stuff, we've seen some little offshoots that would be pretty challenging for some vehicles. So something for everybody here. I find it abhorrent to use a blinker off-road. There's something about that action that really bothers me, and it's hard to describe.
I'm a blinker whore and use it in an empty parking lot at midnight.
I also do, but there's something about being on a dirt trail where I'm like, you know what? This is not the time. This is great for this camera because these are the situations where you just can't see what's really in front of you. And especially when you've got some other trucks with you, if you kind of crest a hill and suddenly you're like, oh, how come I stopped? You're like, oh, because I'm on the roof of another expedition. That's not ideal. But these front cameras are such a game changer. But that's not to say there isn't good front visibility out of this expedition. I think this is, dare I say, class leading. I've driven a lot of GM vehicles, and my complaint in all those trucks, whether it be a Sierra, Silverado, the front end is just so blunt and flat that I do find it really difficult to get a gauge of what's going on ahead of you. And the front camera becomes increasingly necessary off-road and sometimes even on-road, because if you were stopped at a stop sign, say, and maybe there were some pedestrians and you saw some children, you look down at your phone for a quick second because you're only human, and then you go, but you're like, you know what, is anyone in front of me? You can't tell. Oh, this is some good gnarly muddy stuff in there.
Skid plate.
This is great. We don't want to slide into that tree. We'll give ourselves a little bit of leeway because we got lots of mud in the tires right now. But these tires are really hooking up. I'm quite satisfied. There we go. Look at that. I want to be careful with that rear diff lock when we get back on throttle because we will send it straight into a tree next to us.
There's that panel that we thought might rattle around.
Yeah, and it sure is.
That's the table.
It's the table.
It's
yeah.
the table. I love mushy off-roading. Something about, you know what it is? I think I just really enjoy low friction environments, and don't you dare say it. We got all the boys in the car. It's getting rough in here. Maybe we'll have a members only, which is uncut. Whoa, do you see that drop?
That was a good drop.
That's good stuff. I'm going to go slow over this because that was a precipitous drop.
There she goes.
Yeah. I love just evacuating a pit. You smell that?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Let's get through this little lake of a muddy pit. Love a bit of it.
We're along for the ride. Front parking sensors blocked.
Good.
For me, as the exit, passenger, yep. Good.
That was awesome.
Cool, you're good.
Pretty rad. Had there not been B-roll spotters there, I would have really just juiced it up. But I didn't want to cover that guy. That would have been like really rude.
Or we would have been like, that was a great shot. Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No spotters, you can spray it a little bit.
Well, it's just rocks. Yes. I can spray here.
Yep.
This thing's pretty gnarly. I'm really impressed capability-wise with this expedition.
It's fun.
I think this is fun. And all right,
Yeah.
It's a big vehicle. We're talking about a 3-row full-size SUV. Our front parking sensors covered in mud, as they should be, but our camera not. That's actually pretty impressive. But I think the point I want to make is that despite being a large thing, it still fits down a trail nicely, and I don't feel that encumbered. Now, if this was my own vehicle, I'd probably be a little more cautious just because I don't want to have to pay for body work and paint. They took us down this trail. I'm watching people kind of hit branches and stuff, so it seems to be okay. But what I'm just shocked at is that I just didn't expect this to feel as small while you're this far away from me.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of wild. This is like, interior wise, I feel like we're sitting as far apart as like an H1 Hummer. That chime is like the equivalent of like the BMW chime, where it's just like, what's gone wrong? I'm gonna go around that. I know it's not gonna touch us, but
Gravel road, make a left at the T.
it is important though. We'll turn off this rear locker. We don't need it. It is important though that something with a Tremor name does the thing a Tremor is supposed to do, because if they just start throwing that on anything, well, then it like loses all meaning. So it's kind of nice that it still behaves nicely in a little bit of a rock crawly atmosphere. It still has a little bit of that Baja runner vibe, you know. It's not quite a Raptor, but it's soft enough that it can absorb stuff, you know. This isn't uncomfortable to drive with a little gusto off-road. They put the correct tires on it.
Yeah, these dampers soak up bumps.
It's like, this is impressive. I have to pee, and I am not that uncomfortable.
That's the suspension test.
That's the ultimate test.
Yep.
I want to go through that one.
Oh yeah. I wonder if there is a front camera cleaner with you. If you like hit the wipers, what the windshield wiper cleaner?
Yeah, let's see. Do I just push in?
Probably.
Wow, he practically just got the rear end of that thing off the ground. There we go. Anything?
Not seeing anything.
No. All right. Well, no camera cleaner.
Maybe it's every few wipes. Who knows?
Maybe they left that to GM. I have a real thing for convoys in dusty roads. I like it a lot. I want to just do 70 miles an hour with these guys down this road. Because what you're doing really is you're just laying trust in the guy ahead, because you can't see anything. So as long as he's in this track, I'll be in that track. And as long as he didn't crash out on some rock, I won't crash out on some rock. I think what I'm saying is I still want to be a stunt driver.
Yeah.
When I grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know of a good stunt driving school if you want to go to one.
Let's do it.
Whenever I drive fast down dirt roads in a convoy, I think of like the trip I took with the GX with Mike.
Oh God.
And we drove hundreds and hundreds of miles like that.
It's the best.
And the air filter was completely clean at the end of it.
Crazy.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, tell me, what did you just say about the F-150?
Yeah, I mean, this is an impressive overall package. It just does everything really well. We did take an F-150 Tremor off-road a few years ago when that first came out, and that is a little bit softer sprung and damped. It's really capable off-road, but in high-speed stuff, it just kind of floated over everything, whereas this was still a little bit firmer. And I think the on-road handling has been a focus here, and it maintains that while still being a comfortable ride off-road through some pretty rough terrain. So it's a nice balance. Not as soft though as an F-150's Tremor, not as soft as what like a Raptor would be. I would love to see what one of these would be like with some Fox Liefeld shocks.
Oh, it'd be so cool. I think the aftermarket, I think people are going to do some pretty gnarly like modifications on these to make them complete monsters.
Yeah, this would be a great overlanding vehicle. Like bring the whole family, 3 rows, rooftop tent on top, or what have you.
And also, nice. I mean, we've been in 4 high this whole time. The gearing is low enough that it can play this game. I mean, we haven't done any like real rock crawling or anything, but I don't feel like I'm just leaning on this torque converter or doing any kind of like excess heat damage to it by playing this game.
No, it's fine. Turning radius is good. We have not used trail turn assist yet. Haven't really needed it.
No.
It's also like in a completely separate menu somewhere else, so. No, I'm actually genuinely surprised about the agility and the size of this. It feels like it just fits down some trails just fine.
So when we were at the factory, we went and did like a rattle test, like a quality assurance at the end of the line. They take it down this like simulated cobblestone road, some moguls, some uncomfortable terrain outside of the Kentucky Truck Factory, the Kentucky Truck Plant, the KTP. And they showed us like what they do. They run it over some bumps, some hills, and they're listening for rattles in the dashboard and the sunroof and anywhere. And then if they have problems, they bring it in, they secure whatever is loose, and then they can ship it out to their customers. Well, I swear, these Tremors that we're in today, out in the real world on worse roads, are quieter than the one that we tested at the factory.
Yeah.
So I've got to give some credit to the build quality on these things because we haven't been particularly nice in the rattle department. We've certainly given it some opportunities to shake some things loose. And this one has 874 miles on it, that's at least a trip odometer. I think every mile of that has been used for these programs at this point. So
it's been a lot of off-roading.
That's like a pretty violent 874 miles. This thing's doing pretty darn good. So look, maybe you're in the market for something like a Raptor, but maybe it doesn't fit into your life, or maybe it's just a little more extreme than you need, or you're just not a Raptor guy. There's the thing about a Raptor guy. I'm sitting next to a Raptor guy, but he's a Ranger Raptor guy. There's an F-150 Raptor guy that may be a little different. But anyway.
This can actually fit places.
Yeah, what's great is that this kind of has a good bit of capability that one might use in an F-150 Raptor, but it's also a 3-row SUV with some storage. So I just think that this is kind of a cool, I'm going to go a little slower with this one, just in case that was going to bite it on the nose. But no, I think I need to have a little more trust in the approach angle of this car. All I'm telling you is that for most people, if you've got a family and you want to do the Raptor thing, this kind of takes care of a good bit of it, like 85%, 80%. And then if you need to go 100 miles an hour over these roads, sure, get the Raptor. It's not as soft as a Raptor. You don't get like the crazy Fox shocks or anything like that. But this is tuned really well. It's alarmingly comfortable. I thought I was going to need an on-road review with this, and at some point I'd like to, but like driving it around here, I just feel like I understand what they were going for. And the Tremor name is not just a name. So that's going to do it now on some nice cambered corners off-road in the Expedition Tremor. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive and clean your front parking sensors. See you in the next one. This is so weird though. The steering wheel, every time I'm in that position where I've got the skinny side down, it's just odd that your hands go from here to here. That's an odd sensation.
was fun.
It's pretty good.
I enjoyed that. We also drove the previous generation Expedition. Was it called the Tremor? Or was it called
Timberline.
Timberline? That's right, the Justin Timberlake edition. It was the Timberline. It was still also very off-road capable. Good ground clearance, good tires, you know, skid plating, all that stuff. But this just kind of takes it to the next level. It's a cohesive package, and if you can pay, you can play.
Ooh, did you hear that? It's like, you've gone too far.
It gives a little beep. Nice. That's satisfying. I like that.
I don't know why I like that little
I
beat.
kind of like these rotary shifters. They're just so fast and efficient
Yeah.
in their operation.
Well, I like that it always, it's a positive thing. I
Yeah.
don't like when there's like an individual button. This also doesn't encourage me to shift into drive too early.
You're reunited with those to take those back